Before the question of who is your James Bond, whether you grew up watching Sean Connery, thinking of him as James Bond, or Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, whomever, before that question, for some of us at least, there might be a question you could ask somebody. You'd say, who is your doctor? And if that person had a little quirky grin and said, yes, then you knew you were talking to another Doctor Who fan. Now, for me, the Doctor is always going to be Tom Baker. It's the iconic scarf that I loved. I loved Tom Baker. One of the things, although regardless of who was playing the Doctor for you, one of the things that was consistent across all the different iterations and actors in that role, now an actress, as I understand, is the TARDIS. And the TARDIS is this police box here beside me. The TARDIS, time and relative dimension in space. That's what Wikipedia told me. That's what TARDIS stands for. Basically, it was the Doctor's spaceship time ship where they could travel to wherever and whenever they needed to. And the thing about the TARDIS was that it was bigger on the inside. It's not like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure where they have to stay in that phone booth. The pictures here above of Tom Baker as the Doctor is inside the TARDIS. It was bigger on the inside, which was just a fun, interesting conceit. As we look at Christmas, as we prepare our hearts to celebrate the birth of the Christ child, we need to remember that the package that is delivered in nativity sets or Christmas ornaments, the package that's delivered, it's bigger on the inside. It's bigger on the inside. The wonder of Christmas that we shouldn't get over is that the wrapping of mighty God occurs inside this frame of humble flesh. The manger speaks of the humility and the immense power and authority and grace and strength of God packed into this child. And that should be amazing to us. So I don't think it's something we should get over. Yes, to the sweet sentimentality, but don't lose the shock and amazement of having the fullness of God pleased to dwell inside the Christ child. That is in his flesh, the separation that sin created between you and me that affected the whole cosmos, the power and the authority to end the grip of sin and shame and death, that separation between us and a holy God. That power is wrapped in that package because it is God come in flesh. It will be undone in this flesh's humility and in this flesh's majesty. It's bigger on the inside. That's the shock of Christmas. I want to encourage you with that today. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 says, "For to us a child is born, a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Great Leader, Supernatural Wisdom." That's wonderful. But the next phrase, Mighty God. A child is born, and his name will be called Mighty God. A son is given, and he will be Mighty God. It's bigger on the inside. I want to encourage you with that today, with that amazement and that joy. Merry Christmas.